So with me here, I have my very dear friend, Indy, who I met about almost 3.5 years ago. We met in a group chat on Kick about a YouTube group that we both liked and that he was the admin of. So welcome, Indy, and thank you for doing my interview.
Hello.
Thanks. So, me and Indy were talking earlier on today, and we were saying about, I wonder how long we've known each other for, because we both knew it was like a long time, but we didn't realise that it'd been like at least 3 years, because I got into Funhouse when I was in like the final year of school, and that's when you were in it. But like, how long did you have the chat for when like I joined?
Probably at least a year, maybe even 2.
Mm-hmm.
When did Funhouse actually? 2015, right?
I think it was 2015, so I got into them like late. But like when I got into Funhouse, because I remember I was at Lewis's. Anyone listening, Lewis is my best friend. Basically, we were trying to just find some stuff to watch on YouTube, and like there was nothing on. I was kind of getting bored of a lot of the YouTubers that were out there, and I didn't watch a lot of gaming channels as much as I used to, because they were all just playing the same games, and it was all very similar. Like, I watched a lot of Jacksepticeye and Markiplier, and I was just getting bored of it, because they're really nice guys, but the videos just weren't doing it for me. So I asked Lewis if he'd been watching any new YouTubers, and he was like, oh, I found these guys called Funhouse. And I was like, alright, okay, let me see what they're all about. So I can't remember what video exactly that we watched. It was definitely a demo disc. And it must have been a bit of an older one, because it wasn't like recent to upload. It was definitely like a little bit older. And I watched it and I was like, oh, this is really good. I really like this. And then I just binge watched like a ton of their videos, and this must have been like November 2016, I think, that I started watching them. And then over like the November into the December, I was just like solidly like watching their videos. And then like my birthday rolled around and I got Funhouse merch, and it was a very very fast obsession. Especially because everyone in Funhouse was so likable, and obviously I had such a crush on Adam as well. Adam being I still do, but when I first watching it, I was like, oh, he's kind of cute. But it was more just the kind of dynamic that they all had, because with some big like YouTube groups, they can sometimes feel kind of fake. Like it's like, oh, we're all just together in like a group because we're getting money. But with Funhouse, it didn't feel like that. It felt like, you know, comedians who actually like got along with each other. Because I was still in school at that point, so liking YouTubers and all that when I was in like the final years of high school, it wasn't cool. It wasn't normal. Like it. Even though it was only like a couple years ago, it still wasn't like the cool thing to do. You were still kind of branded as a weirdo for liking people online. So I couldn't, you know, fangirl over them or really talk about them. It was only to Lewis. And I already had Kick. I've had Kick for years at this point. And I was on that, and I saw that they had that there was a new option that had come up. I think I seen it on Twitter that was like, oh, there's groups now. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. So then I was like, oh, let's see if there's a Funhouse one. And then I joined. And I was like, oh my god. There's like 50 people in here, or it might have been less, but I know 50 is like max, who actually like Funhouse. And I was like, whoa, this is kind of cool. But I don't know how long it was I was actually in the group for, because when I was in it, I remember I didn't speak to you as much. Like I didn't message you privately or anything like that for quite a while. And then I was in the chat for like a little bit longer, and I don't know if you messaged me privately, if I messaged you, but one of us messaged the other one. It's funny to see how things are now, because like this time last year I hadn't even spoken to you on the phone. And now it's like we Discord like every night pretty much.
Probably like talked on Snapchat or something.
Yeah. No, like I'd heard your voice. You definitely heard my voice.
I mean, I had heard your voice like way earlier in the Kick chat.
Yeah, because I remember not talking, and then I think you messaged me and were like, oh, so that's like what you sound like. Or you said something like, oh, is that your voice? And I'm like, yeah. And you're like, oh, right, okay, huh. And then I had no idea what you sounded like. And then I think eventually you sent me like either like a voice memo or like a video of you talking. And I was like, what? That's what you sound like. It's funny because I'm not a very social person, but because I speak to people all the time, like hearing people's voices isn't that big of a deal. But when you're speaking to someone whose photo is of Indiana Jones, who you had no idea what they looked like, hearing their voice is kind of a big deal. Especially because I didn't even know your real name at that point. I'm like, what does he sound like? What does he look like? Because I think I before I knew what you looked like, I thought you had brown hair.
Oh, that's true.
I was like, he's gonna no, like, I mean, like, dark brown.
I mean, I have pretty dark brown hair.
I would
At least
say.
in the winter.
In the winter, where you're like a fox, like the color just changes.
Yeah.
But
I get like light brown in the summer and then dark brown in the winter.
okay. I remember just being like, oh, he probably has like really, really dark brown hair. It's probably like short back and sides. Like it's, I don't know why I was like, oh, he probably looks not stuck up, but I thought you would be like a fashionista for some reason. And then they were like, you're like a secret nerd in a way. I don't know why. I have a really, once I hear people's voices, I think the kind of visuals come into mind more. But I don't know why I was like, that's what he looks like. But on Kick, I think I had my photo up as me, so you would have seen what I looked like immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I knew your name too because you like accidentally sent that picture of your Facebook, and then you covered your name like on the actual profile, but in the search bar you still had your name there. So it's like, okay, nice name.
Oh, because I remember you like said like, oh, nice name, Corey Young, and I was like, what? I can remember doing that, and I was like, oh my god, they know my name. Because back then I was so scared about people knowing like who I was online, that I was like, I wouldn't even say my real name online. I'd be like, oh, my name's Boopy, my name's Haters. Like I would have all my nicknames, and I wouldn't tell like anyone my real name because I was so scared people were gonna find me in real life, even though there's nothing to find. I was just very paranoid. But when you like said, you're like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. But I was like freaking out. Like, oh my god, I've ruined everything. He knows who I am now. For some reason, I was very, very concerned. And then you're like, oh, your name's Corey. I'm like, that's me. And then I was like, oh wait, it's not that big of a deal. Because when I was on Facebook one day, I saw your Facebook, and I was like, is that Indy? And I was like, I clicked on it, I sent it to you, and is this your Facebook? And you were like, you're like, don't add it. And I think I sent you a friend request and you denied it. Because I was like, oh, I'll add you, and you're like, no, like that's for family only. I was like, all right then, no worries.
I don't know if I remember that. But...
I remember that. Because I was like, okay, fair enough. And you're like, yeah, don't go on my Facebook. It's like, oh, my goodness. Like, all right then. Meanwhile, you're like, haha, I know your full name. Like, if I'd met you on Facebook, I would have known everything about you. I would just be like, haha, I know. I know where you live, therefore I know everything. But it's funny knowing how things have progressed to me. Just be like, I'm just gonna join this chat on Kick. Oh, look at the admin. He seems kind of moody. I'm gonna argue with him and think that he hates me, and I probably hated him too for a couple of months. Oh wait, he's okay now. Oh wait, he's like my best friend. Like, oh, how things change. First year I knew you, I was like, who is this person? Who is this random Swedish person? I don't know. I don't understand what's going on. But what were your like first impressions of like when you met me? You're like, oh, she's a fake fan. She's just in it for Adam.
No, but I don't know. I didn't really. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really remember much from it because it's so long ago. But I didn't really speak to many. I mean, at least not speak to like many girls, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't really speak to many of them in the group, anyways. But
yeah.
When you were an admin and then you like made the other guy admin. Because he was telling you to do it.
He basically
then,
bullied me into it.
Yeah, and then you like made him an admin without like telling me. Then I was kind of like pretty pissed off, I guess, and I was like, oh, okay, can't trust her.
Can't trust her. I don't know if you kicked me from the I for some reason I remember you kicking me.
I did.
Oof! Because I was like, oh, I remember you're moving me as admin. I can actually like remember like the arguments we had and everything. Like I have very vivid memories, but moments like that I can remember it. Because I remember like when the guy messaged me and I was like, oh, you know, I don't really know, like I'll need to speak to Indy. And he was like, no, you don't need to speak to Indy. Like, I've already spoken to him. He says that you can do it. And I was like, really? Okay, then I guess that's fine. And then I made him.
Pretty gullible.
I was under pressure. And then I made him admin, and then you messaged me and like, what the hell have you just done? I was like, I'm really sorry. I thought you knew. And you're like, no. And then just like kicked me from the group. I was so sad. I was like, oh no, what have I done? And then I think me and you like talked it out, and I like sent you the screenshots, and you were like, "Oh, you didn't do this because you wanted to. You were forced into it." I was like, I didn't want to do this. Like, I really didn't. It just happened like that. Especially because he was like, oh, it'll be all fine, you don't have to worry about it. And because I didn't know you too well, I was like, oh, like, he'll be okay with it. I'm not doing anything too bad. And then you just were like, no, you're getting taken away. I'm not speaking to you. I was like, oh no, what have I done? Especially because I didn't know the other people in the group as well. Like, I didn't speak to pretty much anyone in the group. Some people I did, but other people I just didn't. Mainly because I was just like, I am anxious to speak. So when that guy messaged me, how he was speaking, I was like, oh, he's probably spoken to Indy. Indy seems quite sociable, you know, whatever.
I mean, I had spoken to him. I had chatted with him before.
Mm-hmm. So he was probably trying to see like how you talked and be like, oh, if I say this, then she'll know that I'm being serious and blah blah blah, and like all this stuff. Because even though I was admin, like at that point, I don't think me and you spoke as frequently as you'd expect two admins to talk. It was kind of just like, hey, how are you? Okay. Like I don't remember us like. We probably did have probably decent chats, but it wasn't like full on like serious business mode or anything like that. So that's probably why I did it, because I was like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. He's not going to be that mad. In reality, you were like, oh, unbelievable. I can't trust her at all. And now I don't even do anything in the group anymore.
No, well, no one pretty much does anything anyway.
It's just quiet now. It's like I said earlier, just things have changed, and it's just, they're not the same as they used to be. Mainly because of what Kick's reputation is now. It's like, oh, maybe don't use Kick. But who knows what the future holds. Okay, so thanks for letting me interview you, Indy. It was lovely to talk to you about all of our throwbacks from when I met you.
No problem.